Hey guys, Roman Chester here with Hammer and Anvil, and today I'm going to show you guys how to be making a pair of knife tongs or knife blade tongs. So this is the first pair I'm making because I'm usually using different type of tongs, wolf jawed, flat jawed, and I even made these V-bit tongs a while back, and they're not the prettiest things, but you know they work. So I'm going to show you guys how to make a pair of knife blade tongs. That would work a little bit better for what we want to do. So that, I'm going to go ahead and start telling you what we need. So first thing we're going to need is a piece. We're going to use flat stock, starting with flat stock today. This is 9.5 inches long, and then what we want to do is we want to mark out 2.5 inches from one end to the other, and then I went ahead and you can see, I don't know how well you can see that, but you can see I made a marking there. Alright, then from that 2.5 inch mark here, going 1 inch down on the other side, I made another marking, so that way it is, this space here is 1 inch. So 2.5 inches, 1 inch here, and the rest is going to be your handle. This is 9.5 inches long. You can really make it as long as you want. This total length, sorry, is 9.5 inches long. So you can be 10 inch, 8 inch, whatever. I used what was just kind of left over, so I don't like to waste steel. This is 1 inch wide by quarter inch thick. So what you're going to need tool-wise, though, is going to be some kind of anvil or a hard surface to hammer on. You're gonna need something with a straight edge on it. And I don't care what he says. I'm waiting to get my really good anvil here, hopefully within the next few months. But anything harder than steel when it's very hot is all you really need. You're gonna need a hammer, a forge, and maybe a pair of gloves if you don't have tongs already or something like that. So that way, when we heat this up, you can hold on to it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw out the rein or the handle. So we're going to start from this point here, and we're going to work our way backwards. So, or at least you start here and work your way back, I should say. So we want to stop at the this little nick that I had down here. So so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now, and I'm not going to bore you with me hammering the whole thing out, because this is going to be quite a long video as it is normal anyways. So I'm going to start getting the forge hot. I'm going to forge this out to approximately about a 1/2 inch thick. So we're going to go about half the thickness of this, so it should draw it out, a good little bit here. But we are going to have a slight taper that comes up to the boss here, because that's what this little piece is called. It's called a boss. So we're going to try to draw this out, to however long you want it, but I'm going to go no more than 1/2 inch thick on this. So that I'm going to fire up the forge, and I'm going to hammer out the reins, and then after that, we'll go on to the next step. I might throw little pointers in there while hammering out the rein, because I don't have a power hammer, so I do this all by hand. And I want to explain a couple things, possibly prevent fish lips or rolling or cold shuts and stuff like that. So that I'm going to get started, and let's get to work. So I forgot to mention, eye protection of some sort, hearing protection. I like to use my headphones because I'll jam listen to music or something along the lines. Wear appropriate clothing. It's still about 100 degrees here, and that's not next to the forge. I've been forging already a little bit doing yard work, so it's hot out still. Wear appropriate clothing. Don't wear flip-flops, stuff like that. But you're a grown adult. You do what you got to do. You take the risk. So I'm not going to harp on you about safety. That's just a risk you're going to be willing to take. Make sure you have something to cool your steel with, so like a bucket of water, fire extinguisher nearby, all that fun jazz, because apparently people are safety Nazis, and I'm just going to cover all that stuff. Ignore the mess back here. It's just my workbench. Completely out of the way of anything hot and flammable. Normally I live in Hammer over this side, usually I'm over there, but because of the light and the rain and stuff, this is just a better camera angle for you guys. So, now the position I'm in is not a good position. You want to be able to move from the forge to the anvil really smoothly, but I'm making a sacrifice for this video. Alright. So when you're hammering flat stock like this, you want to make sure you keep it good and hot so you don't get rolling along the edges. So if it's too cold, you'll start getting what's called fish lips, and we don't want fish lips. They'll start to roll this way, so it'll roll inside the middle here. We don't want to do that. Now, a lot of flat stock as it is that most flat stock is also called rolled stock. Was flattened out, and it usually has still a slight bow, so it's going to be more inclined to roll as it is. So you really want to be careful not to allow it to roll. That's kind of what happened with these ones here when I made them. When I first started out, and these things got beat up and ugly, but you can see there's a little roll right there. And you want to prevent that from happening. That's just because it wasn't hot enough. So, and I'm going to explain why I did this too. We're going to do something similar to these ones here because it's for you guys. Because people may not have a thing to make a rivet. So this was another option, which was to get a piece of metal, a pin, whatever, and fold it down, and it won't come out. The only problem though is that it has a little bit of movement in there. It's not the tightest, but it works. Let that out a little bit. Okay, so we've got the rein pretty much drawn out, as you can see here. Left a little thicker here towards the boss end. So it extended it out quite a bit, good enough. Drew it out to stay about a quarter-inch thick, and then I reduced it to about a half-inch thick, all right? And we will clean this up once we get the boss and the nibs here shaped out. So with that, I'm going to put this back in the fire, and we'll start working on the jaw portion, or the nib here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to that first little mark I made here. We're going to set it down on the edge of an anvil. Tongs there, so hot on the edge, and we're going to start hammering straight down. You're going to want to start about a 45 degree angle when you're going to set down. So you can do a good set down, half on, half off blow. And then you just do cup 1, 2, 3, 4, and then roll it down, and then we're going to start flattening it out, turning it, flattening it, just keep going and going, until we're to about a half-inch thickness. So that was a little too hot for even for gloves, so I had to grab a pair of tongs. If you don't have tongs, then what you're going to need to do is start out with some lot longer pieces so that way you can hold it further back. And that's actually what I did initially when I made these other tongs. So that was hot. It burned right through the glove. Okay. Set down here. Not very good anymore. My anvil's jumping around too much too. half the thickness right there. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to define the boss area. So we're now going to go ahead and go complete 180, and we're going to go ahead and strike down, whoops, complete 180. We're going to strike down here, half, at an angle like that, half on, half off blow, so we can go ahead and define the boss area a little bit better. We're going to define the boss area right here, half on, half off, just straight down. Remember, like some of the other projects, kind of pull back so you can feel a catch. Straighten it out a little bit. The rain. Keeping it about a quarter-inch thick. Alright. We want to go ahead and round this off a little bit. Same thing, turn it over. And we'll just round that off from here. Now, for the most part, it's good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back through. I'm going to straighten everything out a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how we're going to make the tip on this. So let me straighten everything out first, and then we'll go do the tip. We're going to go ahead and mark out about 1 inch. Now figure out where 1 inch is at. Half on, half off blow. Just kind of mark it. Find that mark. And then hammer straight down. Go ahead, clean it up. Back over, turn around. Straighten it up again. Go. Just like that. So I want to point something out to you. You see how this part is fairly lined up with the boss over here. It doesn't have a little cutout like this closer on this end here. Make sure it's bending that way. You don't want to bend it in there where it looks like kind of like a C or a U. So it's just bent the right way. So now I'm going to show you what the next step is. I'm just going to, again, kind of clean it up, flatten this out a little bit more, and then I'll show you the next step, okay? Okay, the next step, go into a vise. If you don't have a vise, you can do it on a corner of an anvil. And you really want to use a leg vise, not a post vise like this, but I don't have a leg vise. So we're going to clamp it in here. You're going to want to have that the little 90-degree thing we made, the little nib there, be flush with the edge here. And you want to have it clamped about, so where it bends up, you want it clamped right about at that corner there, so when we hit it, it will fold. Now, because this is the one thing that's different. On one rein, you have to hit it one direction. On the other rein, you have to hit it in the other direction. Just like that. Now, I'm only going to make one set for now, I'll show you guys. But the next one you would put in, do the same exact thing. Instead of hammering it that way, you hammer it the other way. Alright, so you hammer it the opposite direction. Now I'm going to put this back at the anvil, and we're going to go ahead and put a little curve on there. Get it close to flush. If you can, it's no biggie. Now, we gotta curve this around, so. Just like that. See, it's kind of like a U. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do now, we're gonna curve that little 90-degree angle we made. No. Like that. Nice tight fit, that's for sure. Now I'm going to go ahead, cool this real quick, and then I'll show you how to put the two together. There you go. And then it should be able to hold various sizes. I like mine to be kind of V-shaped because I can hold different stock sizes. Now another method is to take the rein here, or the boss here, and bend half of it down, which is absolutely fine, whatever you prefer. So as you can see, here's what's going to kind of look like. We will dress them up a little bit so they're more in line here in a minute. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to put the hole for the pin. Now, you can do, oh, that's hot. You can do the pin, the hole a couple different ways. First thing you can do is you can just drift it. So you would get a punch, you'll get this red hot and the punch, and you'll just punch a hole through it. Another way is to put just drill the hole out. Another way is to use a small drill and then use a punch to expand the hole for the pin that you're going to use. Now me, I'm just going to drill the hole out. I'm not too concerned about drifting right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and punch this, and then I'll go ahead and fit the pin through it. I'll try to kind of get everything a little bit more evened out because it's still a little warped here, and try to get everything good and straightened out so that way it'll fit more snug. I'm going to put a pin through. I'm going to drill it out and I'll put a pin through it. And there's two ways you can rivet this. You can make a rivet head, which you don't really need that little bowl thing to do. There's a way to do it. It's a lot harder with that. Or you can do what I did with the other V-grip tongs, which is you bend the one piece 90-degree angle, and you bend the other one at another 90-degree angle. It doesn't hold it quite as snug, but it's a good alternative if you don't have a rivet head or a thing to make like a rivet head. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up a little bit, and then I'll show you guys the final product here. Okay, so here's what I did. So I kind of cleaned up the metal a little bit here. You know, just put it to a belt grinder. You know, it's not a perfect job, not meant to be. And I just went ahead and drill pressed through them. So what I did was I got it pretty much lined up, clamped it down, found where it would be about center, and then I hit it with the punch. Took the one piece off, drilled through that through the drill press. Then I actually got the round stock I'm using for a pin, put it through there, kind of mark it, scored it, figure out what the score was, use the center punch, hit the other one, drilled through that. Now I got the round stock I'm using as a pin, I put through it. I was just going to go ahead and do the other thing, which I was originally just going to knock the one side down, the other one up. But in this case, I want to do more of a rivet and show you guys how you can rivet it without like a rivet block or anything like that. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that, okay? It is a bit of a pain in the butt. We got to get the forge back again, or if you got a torch, you can just hit it with the torch on one side, more localized. So let's go ahead and get the forge going again. So while it's heating up, take the pin on one side, put on the anvil or a piece of hard surface you don't mind marring up. If you have a ball painted, just kind of start to flare out one side first. Don't do a whole lot, mushroom it out. We just need enough so it will stop, so it won't fall through when we put it in the forge. Otherwise, you'll split it. Put a piece of metal down here. I don't care if that's up. Now, what you can do to help make a rivet thing is just kind of drill a little hole into it so it's a bowl shape, and that will help you start a rivet. And you can do another piece like that on top, and you can do it as well. But this helps. So. Right in that little hole there. Using the ball peen side. Oh, my glasses. Start hitting around the edges. So, on the pin. The other side, it kind of balled up, which is good. I got a wet rag here. Just lay it in place. Rivet part again here a little bit more. Let me do one thing real quick. Okay. So now what we need to do now is open and close them a little bit so not too tight. Which unfortunately they kind of are. Now what we need to do is, one of these is longer than the other. What we gotta do is we gotta bend one down about a 40-degree angle and then straighten it back out so they can overlap. Otherwise, you'll see they're not lined up. So we gotta get it lined up. So back in the forge it goes. So I got a wet rag on here. That's to help prevent this from overheating. Alright, so I'm going to bend this bottom one, this one here, at like a 45-degree angle here, or slightly down, if you can. And take this off. Not of an angle, you know. Then we're gonna go ahead, set it back, kind of straighten it up on a little piece of metal that's a little higher than the anvil. Go. So now, what I can do is, if I want to go ahead and adjust this to a specific size, I can, by simply hammering these down over it, tapping down the nibs there. But overall, as you can see, you know, and I don't mind mine not being perfect because I want mine to be able to hold a variety of different sizes. It's pretty secure like this, with about a 1-inch bar here, or a 1/4 inch thick, and then I can go thinner. So, alright, so there you go, guys. That's how you make yourself a pair of knife blade tongs. So with that, hopefully you found this helpful. I know it's a bit of a long video. I mean, I'm going to clean this up a little bit more still. I'm probably going to close this up when I go to work on some of my knife blades because some of the knives I make are a little thinner, but you can do that before you start on any other project. So just know if you make a pair of tongs out of mild steel, generally real easy to manipulate. If you get hot again, just to make the adjustments where you need to make them. But with that, guys, hopefully you found this informational and helpful. Make sure you like it, invite people into the group so they can see more stuff like this. Don't be afraid to post something or ask any questions. I'll do my best to help you. Now, I'm not a professional blacksmith or anything like that, and I don't even claim to be a good one. And I'm definitely no good tong maker. But with that, hopefully you found this helpful, guys. With that, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later.